Hello everyone, I'm Scalene, and today I'm bringing you a guide to the layout of the ship graveyard in Act 1. I have to warn you, there are a lot of variations to this layout. It took me a while to figure out, and you may need to watch the video several times, combined with practicing yourself, before you get the hang of it. I suggest pausing to look at each labeled layout I show before I move on to the next one. Also, I have uploaded all the full maps from my research for you to refer to. I'll put the link in the description. Now let's get started. There are two goals you might have when entering the ship graveyard. The most obvious is to find the exit so you can move on to the next zone. The other is to complete the Fairgraves side quest for an extra skill point. I will cover the location of the ship graveyard cave and the location of Fairgraves. This is where most of the variation in layouts is. Finding the exit is generally much easier. When you're looking for Fairgraves, you'll see a book icon near him, this icon right here. It indicates a lore recording. Then his area is always this sort of ghost shape that I've outlined on the right. It may face different directions or be flipped around, but it is always this shape. There will be another book icon somewhere in the zone, but you should generally have recognized the layout and know roughly where Fairgraves is, so this second icon shouldn't trip you up. Now to talk about efficiency. If you are doing the quest, it may be most efficient to do the cave as you are passing through the zone, then use the waypoint in the next zone, the Cavern of Wrath, to travel back to the waypoint of the ship graveyard, and then go to Fairgraves. Here is an example of this. You can see that we enter on the east side. Fairgraves is next to the waypoint. We go find and do the cave here, proceed to the next zone, and use the waypoint in the next zone to travel back to this waypoint and do Fairgraves. However, if Fairgraves is closer to the cave than to the waypoint, it may be more efficient to go straight to Fairgraves from the cave, then proceed to the exit. Here's an example. We enter here at the bottom and immediately find the waypoint. I'll go over it later, but we can recognize that Fairgraves will be in the northeast in this layout, far from the waypoint. We go and find the cave, go straight to Fairgraves, and then proceed to the next zone. You can use the waypoint in the next zone to return to town for your skill point reward. You will have to make the call between these two methods as you figure out where the cave and Fairgraves are. Now, finally, let's get to the layouts. The first step to identify which layout variation you are in is to note the direction that the entrance faces. It can face northeast, like this, or northwest, like this. First, let's go over the variations where the entrance faces northeast. If you immediately run into a diagonal flat edge, like this, then the layout is recognized as one of the ones I showed earlier, here. I'm going to call this layout, Layout 1. You have started on the right side of the zone, and the layout is pretty straightforward. Going west, you will quickly find the waypoint. The exit is roughly due west. Fairgraves is just north of the waypoint. The cave varies a little bit, so you will loop around south until you find it. Then go north or northwest to the exit. In this example, the cave is further west, but looping around the south and then west will get us there. If you did not run into the diagonal flat wall, you have started at the bottom of the zone, and there are several variations to consider. We want to notice the location of the waypoint. It can be close, leading to 3 variations, far, with just 1 variation, or way across the map with just 1 variation. Now before I go over each variation, I'm going to show you what I mean by close, far, and way across the map. This is what I mean by close. It may be north of the entrance, like this, or northeast. It doesn't matter. This is what I mean by far. It's about 2 or 3 screens further northeast. And this is what I mean by way across the map. When you enter, the waypoint will be nowhere in sight, but you will know that it is way around the map, like this. Now to go over the 3 variations where the waypoint is close. After finding the waypoint, we check if the east is open. If we have to go west, the waypoint is recognized. If the east is open, there are 2 similar variations we will quickly recognize. If we must go west, the layout is recognized. I'll call this layout 2. The exit is always up north. Fairgraves will be in the northeast after looping around. Loop around west for the cave. Its location varies a little, but you should run into it. This is the layout I showed earlier, where it is fastest to go straight to Fairgraves from the cave, then on to the exit. If the east is open, there are 2 variations. Try going northwest. The exit is up north. If you can proceed northwest, we have found layout 3. If you have to go north or northeast, it is layout 4. This is layout 3, where we are able to go northwest. The exit is up north. Fairgraves is to the east. He is sometimes much closer than this, but you may have to go this far. To find the cave, loop around the west edge. Sometimes in this layout, the cave will be past the exit. After looping around west, if you come across the exit without finding the cave, keep going a little bit and you should find the cave. This example also shows how close Fairgraves can be to the waypoint sometimes. If you can't go northwest, you can see it's blocking us off here. Go north or northeast and hug the wall. Loop around west to look for the cave. Fairgraves will be to the east of the waypoint. Sometimes the cave will be northeast of the exit. If you loop around west and don't find the cave before you run into the exit, keep going and you should find the cave. The next layout is when the waypoint is far from the entrance. The exit will be to the north. Fairgraves is to the east. The cave is typically on the way to the exit, but can be northeast of the waypoint here. I recommend going slightly northeast of the waypoint to check if the cave is there, then loop around toward the exit if you don't find it. In this example, you can see that the cave is just northeast of the waypoint. This is why we check here before looping around northwest to the exit. Now we have the layout where we start at the bottom and the waypoint is nowhere in sight. To reach the waypoint, you have to loop around north, then southeast. If you are skipping the Fairgraves quest, just go straight north and ignore the waypoint. If you are doing the quest, this layout unfortunately requires a significant backtrack. I'm not sure if this is always most efficient, but you can go find the waypoint, then go to the cave, then go to the exit, and use the waypoint in the next zone to return to this waypoint and go to Fairgraves. It may in fact be more efficient to reset the zone as soon as you don't see the waypoint here and realize what layout it is. To do this, go back through the entrance to Prisoner's Gate and control-click the entrance to the ship graveyard to create a new instance. Like I said, I have not tested which is faster. That concludes our overview of the layouts where the entrance faces northeast. Now we move on to the layouts where the entrance faces northwest. The first thing to check with a northwest entrance layout is whether the north is open, like this, or closed, like this. If the north is open, the layout is recognized and looks like this. The waypoint is to the north of the entrance. The exit is further north. Fairgraves is on the east edge. Go west for the cave. After you find the Allflame in the cave, you can portal out or log out, then return to the waypoint, do Fairgraves, and proceed to the exit. This is another example of this layout, but looks slightly different. The waypoint is further west, and the cave is further north. I recommend starting the zone by going north, then if you don't find the waypoint, go a little west and hopefully you will find it. Loop around west for the cave. In this case, it's faster to go on to the next zone and use that waypoint to go to Fairgraves. This area has a vol side zone up in the northeast corner. Vol side zones sometimes modify layouts from their usual shape, so it's possible that this is why this variation looks different from the previous one. I only came across this north open layout 3 times in 74 total layouts, and this appearance was only one of those 3, so I don't really know enough to say for sure. If the north is not open, you will be forced south. The next thing to check is whether you are forced to go southwest, like this, or you can go due south. In the first case, the bottom wall will be a diagonal edge from northeast to southwest. In the second, the bottom wall will be a curve that curves east. If we are forced southwest, and the bottom wall is a diagonal like this, the layout is recognized. The waypoint is near the entrance. The exit is due west. Fairgraves is northwest of the waypoint. Loop around south for the cave. The cave location varies a little. Now we'll go over what to do when you loop south like this. There are many variations of this, but that's all we have left to cover. To read the layout, pay attention to how far the waypoint is from the entrance. There are 3 options. The waypoint can be close, medium distance, or quite far. This is what I mean by the waypoint is close. It will be nearly due west of the entrance, but slightly south. In this case, the layout is recognized. I'll go over it in a minute. This is when the layout is a medium distance. The angle between the entrance and the waypoint is a little steeper, and it is almost twice as far away. In this case, there are several variations I'll go over. This is what I mean by the waypoint is far away. The waypoint will be slightly east of the entrance. It is very easy to tell. In this case, the layout is recognized. Now to go over the layout where the waypoint is very close. The exit will be due south and around this corner. Fairgraves will be looped around the west edge from the waypoint. Loop around the east for the cave, as it can be over here, or over here, as in this image. It'll be faster in this layout to go straight to Fairgraves from the cave, and then to the exit. I'm going to postpone the medium distance waypoint and talk about when the waypoint is far, since that only has one layout. The waypoint will be southeast around a little corner. Fairgraves is between the entrance and the waypoint. Loop around the east edge for the cave, and the exit is in the south. This is another example. You can see that the cave is more in the middle. So if you don't find it after looping around the east edge, go there. Now on to the layouts where the waypoint is a medium distance. This one is very easy. If you see Fairgraves right next to the waypoint, the layout is recognized. The layout is just like an S with an extra loop with the exit at the end in the south. The cave is on the way. Just don't go around these western dead ends here or here. If Fairgraves is not right next to the waypoint, check if the area opens out in a kind of triangle shape like this. You'll always be able to go southeast, but in this layout, the triangle allows you to go southwest as well. The exit will be south and slightly west. Loop around east for the cave. Fairgraves is west of the waypoint. There is another layout. This is another layout with the triangular top opening. But the cave is to the northwest of the exit. I suggest looping around the east edge as the cave is usually there. If you do not find it, check the middle, and lastly, check the west edge. Now to our last layout. If Fairgraves is not next to the waypoint, and there is no triangular opening, we have our last case. I call it miscellaneous because it has a couple different looks, but they function the same. The exit is down south, as in the last several layouts we have gone over. Loop around east for the cave, as it is sometimes over there. If not, continue to find the cave here. Then go to Fairgraves, and once you've killed him, go to the exit. Again, in this example, Fairgraves is not next to the waypoint, and there is no triangular opening. The east is open, but it is not a triangular shape. The exit is south. Loop around east for the cave, and go west for Fairgraves. I hope I've effectively explained these layouts. Even though I did many runs, it's possible that there are variations I never saw during my research. If you run into a layout you believe I did not cover, I would love it if you could screenshot the map and send it to me. If you aren't in a rush, it would be ideal if you uncover the whole area before screenshotting the map. In addition, any constructive feedback about the video is welcome. I am very new to creating these videos, so I have a lot to learn. Thank you for watching.